Hey YouTube, welcome back to Tinker with Tools. Is today finally going to be the day that I find a Bosch impact driver that I actually like to use? Let's go ahead and find out on Tinker with Tools. Now when it comes to this channel, I like to think that I've got a pretty positive outlook on tools, but unfortunately Bosch impact drivers have always been one segment of tools that I've just never really felt performed all that well. Whether it's the anemic 12-volt option that's been outclassed by everything, including stuff from Walmart at this point, or on the 18-volt lineup here in the North American territories, you have the Bosch Freak models. And those have dominated our market for the last 5 to 7 years. And while I think the Freak is an innovative design, I just don't think it really delivers enough performance to make up for the fact that it's just a very large impact driver compared to what else is on the market. And so I just often find myself ignoring them altogether and not using them, even though I own several. I get that how things are here in the North American territory isn't necessarily how it is in the rest of the world, especially in Europe where Bosch is a much more significant player in the tool landscape. Now because of that, I have turned to following different people from around the world to be able to see what's being showcased by different brands in other territories. And one of those individuals is a woodworker from Germany named Marco Ehlert. If you're not already following him, I'll be sure to put his information on the screen because he truly has one of the sickest workshops that I've ever seen, and it predominantly showcases Bosch tools. Now in late 2023, he attended a Bosch community showcase event where they did announce several new tools, and one of those was a new impact driver that looked much more like a traditional impact driver. Now at the time that model had been yet to be released, but I knew that once I saw it, it was going to be a tool that I wanted to see. Now just a note before we get into this, I understand that they have had more traditional impact drivers for a number of years. Unfortunately, in the North American territory, they really just don't market those at all, and not even all retailers carry all the different models that they have to offer. So then, what are we getting with this new impact driver? Well, right out of the box, the difference in size was apparent. See, this new impact driver is actually just under 4.5 inches compared to the near 6 inches with the Bosch Freaks. So you're cutting off a lot of size and length just in the tool head by going to the more traditional impact driver design. Now with that change, you're also getting a good reduction in weight. In fact, you're saving almost a half a pound or almost 200 grams by going from this Bosch Freak model down to this newer design. But a lot of that difference is just going from the combination drive type that you have on the Bosch Freak to going to a more traditional hex collet on this tool. And lucky for us, or at least for me, since it's one of my personal pet peeves if they don't do this, this is a quick insert collet. So you are able just to insert the bit. That is something that you never had on the Bosch Freak model because of the unique collet design. They just weren't able to incorporate the quick insert feature there. Another notable change with this is now instead of just having a light down on the base, you now do also have a light right up under here. Now this is by no means a class leading light, but it's at least some improvement with this generation, and so I think that's a good start. The last thing that is mainly different with this is there is a torque increase with this new tool. The previous model was quoted at 1,860 inch-pounds of torque. This new model is up at 1,950. And I think this power level is going to be sufficient for a lot of people's needs if it can back up the performance that it has on paper. Now we're going to get to some of the things that are actually the same about the two tools because we're going to get down to the control panel itself. Now on the control panel, or the user interface as they call it, you do have 3 different speed modes. And with this tool, you actually are going to see an adjustment in the RPMs, the impacts per minute, and the torque level in each one of those 3 different speeds. And then out of the box, you also have 2 different alternative modes, a mode A and a mode B. Out of the box, mode A is going to be a bolt mode, where when you're running the tool in forward, it is actually going to have an auto stop feature, and that's basically to prevent over tightening of the fastener. When you're in reverse and in that bolt mode, you're actually going to see it do an auto slow. When it feels a sudden decrease in the resistance from either the bolt or the nut, it is going to actually slow the rotation down. And then in the out of the box mode B is actually going to be a wood screw mode that when you're in forward, it's actually going to have an auto stop feature once it reaches a certain level of resistance so that you don't overdrive the fastener. Now I do mention several times there that that's how it is out of the box. Later on, after the performance testing, we are actually going to cover the Bluetooth connectivity and some of the customization you can do, because there is actually quite a bit of customization that I think makes this tool pretty unique. So then with all those weight changes, how does it actually affect the feel of the tool? Over the years, I always felt that the Bosch Freak was a little bit nose heavy because of some of the weight and just how big it was. With the new tool, all of that is gone, and the tool actually feels significantly more balanced and just more compact and nimble overall. Bosch's handles have always been excellent in my opinion, and that continues with this model. Now when it comes to the trigger, this is not going to be a featherweight trigger like what you get on some of the latest Makita models. This trigger definitely has some weight to it, but with that weight, I think you are getting just a really impressive level of control across the entire range of RPMs that you can operate this tool at, and definitely a standout on this tool in my opinion with how nice it is to use. All right, so now it's time for some performance testing, because although everything I've said about this tool so far feels like a big improvement over the previous model Freak, if it doesn't have the performance to back that up, then it really just doesn't make any difference at all in my opinion. So what we're going to do today is we're going to drive a number of different fasteners. Primarily we're going to be pitting the new impact driver against the Bosch Freak, but later on I'm also going to be running the new impact driver on the two different other batteries that I have from them. So let's go ahead and do the performance testing and we'll come back and see how it fared. Now, to say that the performance results were conclusive, I think would be one of the bigger understatements that I've ever made on this channel, because across the board we saw improvement over the previous generation Freak that is more than what the numbers say it should have been, in my opinion, just on paper. There is actually only a 5% improvement in torque going from this older generation to the new generation, but we actually saw a 23% improvement across the board. In fact, the new impact driver actually won 9 of the 10 driving tests where we compared the two, and in the one that it lost, it was actually neck and neck with it. There is something different about how this new impact driver is putting down its power, whether it's a more efficient drive mechanism or whatever they've done to alter this. This is truly a much more impressive tool than what you're getting over here. Now, like I said early on, I don't expect that if I were to go and put this up against a flex impact driver or the latest DeWalt high torque or something like the Milwaukee, that I'm going to see, blazing speed times like I'm going to see with those tools, but it does give you enough power that you are able to do those bigger tasks if you want to, and it's just a noticeable improvement. Additionally, in the testing, although I didn't measure specific decibels, when I was doing the editing, you could actually see a visible difference in the noise produced by the older Freak model and this newer tool. So you're even seeing a little bit of a decrease in the noise level than what you're getting with this. So as far as performance testing goes, across the board, the new impact driver was a lot better and something that has actually made me really like this tool even more. Before I actually knew what the results were, I had a really positive opinion over this impact driver, and it was something I was excited about. But seeing that the performance actually matches what I was feeling, that's truly something where it just really starts to put it all together in a nice package. Now, earlier in the video, I did mention that we were going to take a tour of some of the customization you could do through the Bluetooth connectivity. And unlike some other brands where you have to buy an entirely separate model to get some of that customization, most of the Bosch top tier models actually just come with this little compartment in the side of the handle, where once you take off kind of the button cover on it, you can go ahead and install their Bluetooth connectivity module. Now, the module is roughly $18 at the time of filming of this video, and I've actually purchased one previously and swapped it between the different Bosch tools when I needed to use it. But after seeing how much customization there was with this tool, I actually went ahead and purchased a second one that will just reside permanently in this tool. Once I have the Bluetooth module installed, I go ahead and get connected to the Bosch Toolbox app, and there right on the front screen I can just click on My Tools. Now, the first thing that I can do is I can actually go ahead and swap out those A and B modes that we have there. Like I mentioned, we do have a self-drilling metal screw mode, a wood screw mode, and a bolt mode. But in addition to that, I can also program custom modes like I've done here with this Tinker with Tools Custom 1, where you're actually able to configure all those different features and functionalities on there exactly how you want. Now, in addition to the different modes, I can also control the individual RPM levels of the speed 1, 2, and 3. I really think this is going to be applicable for someone who wants a consistent set speed and really fine-tune exactly what you want to see out of the tool. Next up, there's going to be a soft start mode that when I go ahead and enable it, it connects to the tool, gets it all configured, and now when I press the tool, you can see it just takes its time to ramp up. Now, that's not a feature that I truly love to have. I know that some of you do prefer that. So the ability to kind of program the tool to operate how you want, I think, is a big deal. So with that soft start, if I don't want it on, I just turn it off. Once again, it communicates with the tool. And now it's back to the snappy performance that I prefer. Next up, you're going to be able to adjust the LED work lights, where you're going to be able to adjust whether you want the top or the bottom on independently. And then you can adjust the brightness of those. Last thing is the user interface. This is probably the least useful functionality, but you can go ahead and control how long it stays on after you adjust it, and you can actually lock the user interface, so if you don't want it to be adjusted at all, you can go ahead and lock that out so no adjustment can be made. Overall, I would say that the connectivity of the Bosch tools is one of the easier ones that I've ever used on any of these tools, and in some of these models, they are truly offering some impressive customization. So then what does that mean for the future of the Bosch Freak, especially here in the North American market? Well, it's not going anywhere, but they have announced a new model of Bosch Freak, and it's not just like it's going to be a copy of the performance that we're seeing on this one, just with a different drive method. The model number for that one that they've announced is GDR18V-1950C, and that is going to feature a big jump in torque going up to 285 Newton meters which is approximately 2,500 inch-pounds. But the other big change is, unlike these impact drivers, which feature 3,400 RPMs, this new Bosch Freak is going to be down at 2,800 RPMs, kind of lining up the performance to be a bit more like what I would expect from a traditional impact wrench. But you still retain the ability to put a 1/4-inch hex bit in it and drive it that way. My biggest complaint with the Bosch Freak over the years is simply that it was not enough of an impact wrench or an impact driver to really make up for the fact that it was a larger tool. So if they're starting to make it more like one, I think it still can make sense and can be a useful tool. And so I do like to see that they're going to be trying something different with it and that it's just not going away entirely. So then after going through all that, what are my final conclusions with this impact driver? Well, for the first time, I have a Bosch impact driver that I truly love, and one that I think offers a good amount of performance while just being really nice to use, and it certainly has changed the way I'm viewing Bosch's tool lineup. In fact, I went ahead and purchased another tool from Bosch today that'll be here in a couple weeks, so stay tuned for that. Now, when it comes to running this impact driver with their new compact hammer drill that I tested late last year and really impressed me with how much I liked it, it just really feels at home, and that is something that I never thought I would be saying with Bosch tools. If you're running Bosch tools, go ahead and let me know down at the bottom in the comments below. Or if you've had opinions like I have, it might be time that you check them out, because I really am impressed with this impact driver. If you have any questions about it, go ahead and let me know down in the comments below. And if you want to see it tested against something specifically, make sure to drop that in the comments as well. If you like this sort of video, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. Make sure to turn on notifications so you get notified when I put out new content. But as always, thank you for your continued support. And until next time, I'll catch you on Tinker with Tools.